Well, okay, so this is my friend Wesley. I got him into the show, and because I really liked it, and then I had a couple things that I had to do, and then he watches the show before me, and I felt so left out, and then you tried spoiling a couple things for me. I remember that. No, you did. You almost spoiled a couple things, but I really like this show, and
When friends are excited, it's hard not to because you want to convince somebody to watch.
Yeah.
And I tell them everything you
right.
saw, and then before you know it, you do that thing where you're like, oh no, you try to take it back, but it's too late.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is my best buddy, Mr. Robles,
Hey, how you guys doing?
Oh, hey.
and that's his real background.
I didn't even know he joined yet.
I just popped him in. Can you see him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You can hear when you speak.
Yeah.
You guys introduce yourselves, and then we have like a good like 15 20 minutes that we can answer some questions, and just whatever you want to know, we're happy to share.
Okay. Well, I'll introduce myself. My name is Nolan Hughes, and I'm a humongous fan of cartoons. Nothing really much. I'm pretty boring, but I really like cartoons. On my YouTube channel, I talk about cartoons. I make vlogs. YouTube is like my life, but then I have my family. There's nothing really much that I can explain.
Yeah. I'm Wesley Gregg. I'm not much. I do like cartoons, but I'm more into like anime. So more of like highly graphic and more action shows.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I did like Glitch Text. Because it does have that aspect in it.
Yeah, it was definitely an influence. Are you guys interested in possibly making, live action or animated projects one day?
I really want to. I have this project that I really want to work on, but I guess I'm just not there yet.
I've thought of becoming like a comic artist.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
I'm gonna set a quick framework for you guys. I know Eric's gonna agree with me because we grew up exactly like you guys, except we had zero access to the things we loved. Maybe if they published a book about it, we were lucky enough to if our parents would even buy it for us, that was a miracle. We'd go to the bookstore and read the book at the store. We had to pause video on our TV sets and trace off the screen if we were interested in learning how to draw. You guys are in a YouTube and social media generation where, you have this kind of access, but even what's happening right now rarely happens just because everybody's out, the world is busy, it's crazy, but this show came out while we are in lockdown, and we've just said, hey, we want to just hook up with people and say hi. So it's a very rare thing. If there's anything you want to know or you think your viewers want to know, we'll do our best to answer what you've got. But it's very unusual. I could not imagine if I got to talk to people who made the stuff I was into. It's
really nerve-wracking.
Can't believe it when I get, I'm in my 40s and I can't believe it if I get to talk to somebody whose work I like.
Yeah, I had to wait till I got into the industry until I met a lot of my heroes who work on a lot of shows that I grew up watching, for sure. But you guys are definitely in a league of your own when it comes to access. So
yeah, good for you for asking.
All right, so how can we help you guys? How do you guys want to start this?
Well, we wrote down some questions for you guys about glitch tags, and let's just get started.
Oh, by the way, are you guys either somebody recording this?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, I told them about yesterday.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Okay, so the first question that I have for you guys is, what was your inspiration for glitch tags?
Basically, it was I was watching Ghostbusters, the animated series, after I had finished Fanboy and Chum Chum. I was put on an overall deal at Nickelodeon, and I was just, trying to think of some new show ideas. And as I was watching Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, from the 80s, I was like, man, it was such a great show. And, growing up watching that show, I was just always so mesmerized by the stories, the monsters, and I just really loved, every aspect of what that was. So I was wondering why, they weren't making a new animated version of Ghostbusters, especially when that new movie was about to come out. And I was like, well, obviously I could never work on it because I was on an overall deal at Nickelodeon. So I was like, you know what? What if I made my own version of what this would be? So that's when I just kind of started putting, two ideas together of video games that would come out of your television set. Yeah. And what if that would happen? Who would take care of that? And then I said, well, maybe somebody like the Geek Squad would show up and take care of these things, right? That would make more sense. So then, we just kind of putting these kind of elements together. Long story short, it got discovered by the president of the studio, which in turn, he asked me to further develop it. And I had presented it to Dan because we had worked on a previous project called Monkey Quest. And because we had such a great relationship together on that project, when I sent glitch text to him, he immediately gravitated to the project because him and I both had a love for the original Ghostbusters series. Definitely more him. I thought I was a big fan of it, but he was an uber fan of the Ghostbusters.
I knew how all the tech worked, and I knew all the details from there used to be a Ghostbusters RPG game, and I knew all the details from the books, and I had wanted to write those kind of stories for a long time. So we both had a lot of original ideas we wanted to do, and then we were both just borrowing from things we loved, and we just thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do a supernatural investigator type series, but rooted in science fiction and engineering and programming. And then just kind of bring all these things to it that we wished we had in the cartoons we grew up with. I'll give you one example, which is when we were kids, Saturday morning cartoons, you would watch the opening titles of the show and your mind would be blown. Then you'd watch the show itself and it did not look like that. We didn't really care because we were just little kids. We weren't animation snobs, but you did start to notice man, that beginning is so cool. And then it gets very stiff. So one of the things was what if the whole show really looked like that?
We wanted to live up to different standards on our show and make sure that, what we offered you up front was consistent with the show. So that was definitely one of our goals.
Yeah. So could look as good as possible and also have good stories and stuff.
Wow. I can kind of see some of the elements from Ghostbusters with the gauntlets, and that's really nice. So that's cool.
There's about 22 Ghostbusters references in the show, and some are really obvious and some are sound effects and music cues and everything. But there's Ghostbusters stuff throughout because we kind of feel that property deserves a big shout out.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. My question is, what was your inspiration for most of your characters in the show? Are they did you get inspiration from people within your life, or?
Yeah, well, it's a great question actually. When I think of what Glitch Text originally started being, I always start with the story of it started me watching the Ghostbusters, what have you. Truth is, I had done concepts for what I used to call 8-Bit and High Five. It was really, that was the original title, and it didn't have Miko in it. But when I go back to the very original stuff I had done, and this was even pre-Monkey Quest, I definitely still have those designs tucked away. I had created a female character named Miko, and it was definitely very just Japanese, inspired kind of character. And I was like, man, it would just be cool to see, a Japanese girl who was just that cool, right? And then, later on, it wasn't until we were further in development where we started honing in on the characters and who they were. And I think one of the foundations, at least for myself and realization, I think for both Dan and I, was a meeting that we had with our executives when I was telling them more of a personal story of mine. And once, we kind of gravitated to who High Five was, it actually gave us more an idea of who the character was based off of kind of like where I was starting from. And, Miko herself was a character that we had, but the real life that came through for us and the real kind of like, bright-eyed moment for us was actually having Monica Ray, the voice actress who played Miko. She really, I feel, brought this whole new level of inspiration to us.
She was around when we were developing the show. Monica Ray is a storyboard artist and a animation director. So she was directing and boarding at Nickelodeon, and she was like a friend that we knew. Eric knew much better than I did, and he invited her to come and help us out a little bit and do some storyboarding and also to do some temporary dialogue. And once I met her and once we both heard her voice, we were just like, oh my God, her energy is amazing. And we started tailoring the character more to her a little bit. And then slowly we came to work with women like Felicia Day and Ashley Birch and Sarah McChesney, who all grew up as gamers, and they brought elements of their life to the character. And so it just grew over time. When Eric talks about High Five, he used to be a little bit more of like a generic gamer kid, but Eric was supported by his family and going to art school when, that was not something that they were able to afford. In fact, he didn't go to the school, but they supported his desire, and they tried to put him into places and situations and support his dream. And so that was inspiration for Five's life and for Papi and Abuela. And then as we began working with more people, they brought a lot of sweetness to Five that, they recognized from their lives. So the characters all just kind of grow as you make them, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I really like how in Glitch Text, every single character just feels so real, and I love that about the show. They just feel so real, and it's so cool to see that.
Yeah.
One of our writers had the idea of creating Zara, but we didn't know who Zara was yet. And all we knew is that, we wanted her energy to be different than the characters we'd already introduced. So we started with that. Like, okay, she's going to be everybody's very outgoing. She's going to be a little more chill. Some are more goofy. She's going to be a little more solid. And then over time, as we did the first couple episodes, we started to give her a great sense of humor. The actress, Zara Fazal, came in and brought like her personality and her energy to it. And slowly, I would say just after about an episode or two, it was such a pleasure to write her, and we just suddenly knew who she was based on playing around and figuring it out. And that's just kind of how it happened. A lot of the actors on our show are also writers, and some of them are in the cast and writing on the show, like Sandeep Parikh, who plays Hanish, or Greg Nix, who plays Nix. So that helps too, because you have writers and actors who are thinking about the part.
Wow, that's nice.
It's your turn.
It's my turn?
Yeah.
You're up.
Okay. I'm trying to see, because I might skip maybe. Okay, so my question is, what is your dream game to reference in the show if you haven't already?
Do you have one, Robles?
Well, I don't think dream. I just want to say like what I would like to see based off of what like my kid's currently playing. I think again I've said this a couple of times only just because he enjoys playing it, which is Hello Neighbor. He's been playing that, and again I really like kind of creepy episodes and those kinds of themes. So if we had a new bite at the apple, I would want to do an episode that felt like Hello Neighbor, that has a creepy kind of element to it. I think that'd be really fun.
I think more about genres than specific games, and I think of like the point and click adventure game genre, which is like an older genre, but that's something that I think would be really fun to try to do. And honestly, the closest thing we did to a straight up parody was the Castle Stein episode, and that's really because so many people know and love those like Metroidvania classification of games, and a lot of the consultants on the show are fans. And I myself had been stuck in Symphony of the Night and like gone back to it a few times to try to finally beat it. And so it was like on my mind. So it was even less about parodying Castlevania. It's just that we really wanted to evoke that feeling that people can have when they're stuck in a game. And, you know, that love-hate thing you have where, you know, you love the game, but you can't get out of it.
Right.
So that's what started the conversation. So even though we thought it was cool to do all the designs and stuff, it was the idea of how it affected the characters that really like drove the story, you know, and that's what's really fun about it at the end of the day, is that those two like have totally different feelings about the game, and then they kind of switch halfway through, and that's what made it a fun story.
Cool.
Yeah.
Everyone on the team, I think, wants to do Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
And we also talked about Mario Kart, but just the amount of assets it would take us to do a show like that and build all those vehicles in CG would definitely kill our budget.
Yeah, because if you want to move the camera around the cars, even in a 2D show, you would have to rely on some CG. So it was very ambitious. And every time we talked about a car chase, we were like, oh man, we're just in season 1. Like, I don't know if we could really do that. But then we had a car chase sequence in the real glitch text.
Yeah.
And when that came up, it was like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could do a van chase? And the first thing was, oh, we can't do car chases. We can't do car chases. And then we thought, well, what if we did it as like a flat video game sequence? Then it's not expensive to animate, and it's better for the show.
So that's, I mean, those are creative workarounds that we had with the show. You got to think smart. You know, it's like if you can't afford to do something, you know, then you have to think of creative ways of doing it, right?
Invent your way around it, yeah.
So, you know, again, even going back to Fanboy, we were constantly reusing our sets and our assets and our, you know, props and everything we had. And again, you have to treat it like live action. And this is the stage you have, these are the props you have, and these are the actors you have. Now make a show with just this. And, you know, again, we definitely had more assets, and we had more effects and what have you on glitch text, but still you have to still be as conservative as you can and keep it within that box.
If you watch the show, you'll see that there aren't many repeated locations, but the one that there are is that we go to the bridge in town, you know, quite a bit. We go to the game store a couple times, certainly the Hinobi store. But, you know, when you do an episode like Alpha Leader, which took place in an abandoned amusement park, or Castlestein, which was in, you know, Count Nogrog's castle, there's not a lot of reuse, and so that can be difficult. But we do have some unproduced episodes that are almost complete, and in one of them we decided to reuse all the Castlestein stuff.
Yeah, we actually
finish that someday.
Here's a good nugget for you. In the 10 that were not produced, we actually do go back to Castlestein. So nobody knows that, and now you know.
Return to Castlestein is a scoop.
Really? Is it your turn?
Sure.
Okay.
This is just something that I thought of, but will glitch text have any off-screen moments, like a comic book or like a graphic novel, maybe?
That's also a really good question.
Currently, not that we know of. You know, it really depends. Everything depends on viewership. Everything depends on the fans. You know, the networks, as far as they're concerned, they're done, right? But just like Korra, just like Avatar, just like anything else, it's the fans who control like what networks want to make. And so the more support that we get from fans, then that, you know, puts it in front of the networks and says like, oh my gosh, well, we should make more of this.
Because fans are the customers. You know, usually when a show is made, if it's based on an existing property, like if somebody's going to make a new Star Wars show, obviously they understand that there's going to be fans who are going to want to buy stuff. So they'll sometimes work out those kind of merchandising deals while they're making the show, and then they all come out together. It's the same with movies. But when you have an original property, you don't know how it's going to do yet. So some companies might figure that out ahead of time, but others will not. And they're just waiting to hear from people to find out if they want it or not. And something else I want to make clear is that although we totally appreciate the questions, this is the kind of thing I would have asked as well as a fan. But when people ask us to do it, like, it's not up to us, you know, like, of course we want this stuff just as much as you guys do. It's really, you know, Nickelodeon and Netflix that need to be asked. Or you can also just, like, you know, contact your favorite game companies and toy companies and send them an email, because they all have contact us listings on their websites, and just say, hey, I love this show called Glitch Text. Are you guys going to make toys? Because if they get enough of that, then they call Nickelodeon and say, hey, a lot of people want us to do toys of Glitch Text. Can we work with you? So that's the best way to make it happen, because we're always going to say, yes, we want to do that stuff. And hopefully we'll have some control of it, you know, making sure that it's of good quality. But yeah, it's really, it's so weird, but it's between you guys and the companies. It's so strange that it's not up to us. It's literally up to all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if nobody's buying Star Wars toys, they're not going to make any.
Right. Yeah.
No matter how much George Lucas wants to make them, the power is in the person who's buying them. So,
that makes sense. Yeah. See, I would really like to see like a Funko Pop figure of some Glitch Tech characters. I would really like that.
Yes. They literally have on their website a thing, like a form to fill out that lets you suggest what toys they should make.
Really? Ooh.
Whether it's our show or another show, you guys are a Google search away from all this stuff. Just go check out Funko and look at their website and poke around, and you'll see that, you know, even they know you have this power, and they're giving you access to them to do it.
I'm gonna have to do that after this thing, because I really want one. Okay. The next question is, let me see. I'm gonna pick a really good one. Hold on just a second. Okay. Are we ever gonna see?
And then I also, before we're done, pick a bad one, because bad questions are fun too. So pick a good question.
Okay. Okay. So I think this might be a good one. Are we gonna see any more backstories like we did with Five's friend?
Oh, like when they're kids? Like flashback?
Yeah.
Like in future episodes, we definitely go back, and we have moments with some of the other characters. You know, we had an episode with Casino, and we have like other episodes. I mean, we do have more of the backstories, and we have more of where the series is intended to go. We have a lot of secrets that need to be known by by you guys, you know, by the characters. We have so many new discoveries that we were just setting you guys up for. Again,
we've already storyboarded a really sweet sequence in one of the episodes. It's small, but it's really great, and it goes into like Hanish's past and why he appreciates certain movies and games.
Right, and even just Miko's family, like we get a lot deeper into
a lot more with them.
Miko's mom and her grandmother, and so we have some really great stories like that. That again, they're ready, they're boarded, they're ready. It's just a matter of you know, Netflix and Nickelodeon wanting.
The animation is, you know, involves a cost, so that's what they're really waiting to do. You know, we've already written, actors have recorded, most of the storyboards are finished, which is the blueprint for the animation, and then that last step is actually sending it to be animated. So we have about 10 episodes that are awaiting that final step. So that they'll, based on fan response, you know, hopefully we'll get to finish those and maybe even do more.
I have to ask one more question. Okay, so this is a question for me. I have another one. You know, like I am a really big fan of Fanboy and Chum Chum because I grew up with Fanboy and Chum Chum. And I wanted to know if there was like maybe like a potential like crossover like with Glitch Text. I would love to see that. I really would.
Because we have noticed the
references,
Frosty Freeze.
Yeah, the references in the show. I would really love to see that.
Well, you know, you got to thank Dan for entertaining me with a lot of that stuff. You know, he's just always been really game with a lot of these ideas, even though Glitch Text is a completely new IP, and he could have been like, I don't want to mix the two properties, but he just was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's do it. And so, having a good partner like that just is, sees the potential in having fun with mixing these
Yeah.
has been really awesome, which has allowed the property to stay alive in its own way. And again, fans like you who grew up watching the show, you can have these little Easter eggs and can hope and pray that these characters might make their little appearances here and there. The truth is, we wanted to include them in an episode, in possibly maybe one of the 10 that we're doing, or I know we discussed it, but we wanted the characters, Miko and Five, to go into one of the Frosty Marts. And who do you think would be working behind the counter?
There was a scene in Collection Quest when the gems that they go looking for were originally hidden throughout stores in the strip mall, the Hinobi strip mall. And one of them was the Frosty Freeze. So we talked about, oh my gosh, if they go in there, what if, Fanboy and Chum were working behind the counter, sort of like in Kevin Smith's movie Clerks, like they were a little older. And so we talked about it. And if we did do that, it's because we think it's fun. The reason we didn't do it is because the story took us other places and we used different locations. So we can't force it. If we do it, it has to be right. And if we do it, it'll be fun. It's a goof. I don't know if they're literally all from the same world, but since they're from the same brains, as me, Eric, and the shows that our crew and we've all done, we certainly will think about it. There's no reason that Five and Miko can't play a Fanboy and Chum Chum game, or you can't look in a crowd and find their faces.
Right.
We'll see. Right now, we're just kind of having fun.
Yeah.
One of our board artists put the Groovy Smoothie in the mall too from iCarly. So
really,
maybe she's living there too. I don't know.
But it definitely is something that if we do it, it's usually kind of just a quick little appearance. And again, it's something that we definitely would consider for future episodes. Just as little Easter eggs. They definitely would be a lot older, maybe late teens, early 20s, working at the Frosty Mart.
Yeah, it'd be a cool way to see where they are now.
Yeah.
This one might be a bit more serious than the last ones, but are you guys starting to get a bit worried about the show getting canceled for anything about what's going on now, or because knowing that it's on Netflix has canceled quite a bit of the shows of recent times. So I just didn't know if you guys are starting to get worried, or.
Well, what worries shows is not canceled or not canceled anymore, because to be honest, we're not really in that world anymore. Properties can continue really no matter what. In fact, you're seeing it happen all the time where shows are coming back together again after, either years or months or whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But what you want, what you don't like to have happen is to have your crew split up, because it takes very special people to make something like Glitch Text, and it's the combination that really makes the magic. And it can be done again with the same people or a mix of the same and new, but it's very difficult to do. So what you really hope is to not have the flow interrupted. But it happens a lot, not just to us. It happens to so many shows, and sometimes it has to happen. It depends. The economy we're living in is hard. The industry is changing constantly. We're so lucky 20 episodes of this show are even out. So, but we worry to lose our team, but we are pretty confident that, one way or another, this thing's special to us and to a lot of other people. And, we do have support at Nick and at Netflix, whether or not, regardless of what decision they ultimately make. But we feel good that when it can happen and it's right for everybody, it can continue. We obviously just hope it's going to be soon.
Yeah. Again, there's no real worry. We we went ahead and we feel like we made a really great show. It came from the heart, and it came from the heart from a lot of our talent, So, we're really proud of the show, and regardless of whether it continues or not, we're just proud of what we accomplished.
For sure. It's so unheard of sometimes to get a show greenlit to a series at all, first of all, and to have it be an original show with all the kind of like very strange new things we wanted to try. So we see it as such a win. So we are very positive about it. But, at the same time, we'd love to see it happen, and we'd love to have the problem of figuring out exactly how to put it back together. The fact that we have some episodes all set for animation already makes it a lot easier, because people can see 10 shows, pretty quickly if we just get the green light to put them into the rest of their production. So, and while that's happening, we could potentially be building a new team and making more.
I know, because I really don't want the show to leave off on that ending of season 2. I really don't, because I want to see more so bad.
Well, hopefully others feel the same way, and that certainly helps, because they can let Nick, Netflix, and comic companies and other companies know, like, we love this show. Somebody pick it up. Somebody, make more episodes, make comics, make books, whatever we can do to tell the story. A game would be amazing, like a interactive story game or something.
Yeah.
I have another question where, what were the reasons for having glitch text on Netflix? When you started pitching the show for glitch text to the people of Nickelodeon, did they just not think that it was going to be fitting for TV, or
I'll let Eric answer this, but it was more just that the industry is changing so much. I don't think it was about the show so much as the fact that, suddenly there were more reasons to go streaming than to go network.
Yeah, we don't take that stuff personal. It really is all business. Nickelodeon needs to exist outside of a cable, or outside of cable in general. So Netflix is the perfect place to start building, showing off their brand, first of all. So because right now they were only, you can only find anything Nickelodeon on Nickelodeon, right, the cable. But now, because they're on Netflix, which most people are now streaming all their content, Nickelodeon now lives in a streaming world where they can, you can go to Netflix and see the Nickelodeon logo on there. So they're hoping, again, deals like that are made to kind of keep the brand alive. And now with CBS, Viacom CBS, they have their All Access as well. So now they're able to kind of bring more of their Nickelodeon stuff to that platform. So, I'm sure by the time, it's all the deals are done over at Netflix, eventually you'll be able to see glitch text maybe on CBS, Viacom.
And then new things pop up all the time. It's like Viacom wasn't Viacom CBS like a year ago, and next year they could be, Disney, Viacom, CBS, Netflix, Amazon. You just don't know. And every time those changes happen, the children in those families get moved from one house to another. So it's not really about the kid, like this kid belongs in this house, or this kid's going with dad, and this one's going with mom. It's just, hey, the kids are just moving. So it wasn't really, we did design the show to be like a weekly show, and we did expect it originally to be on the network, but we certainly weren't disappointed to hear we were going to Netflix, because we're fans and they reach over 150 countries, and it was an amazing opportunity. So, we were happy either way, but we did design the show thinking it would be like a weekly, animated series.
Yeah.
Looking at the time, can we do 2 more and one of them be like the bad one? Because I'm just curious what the bad one is.
Okay. Let me see. What is your guys' favorite glitch in the show?
Oh, that's good. Eric?
Let me think about that. Go ahead. You have one, Dan?
Glitch in general, or like
I'm just gonna say it.
Opponent glitch.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. For me, it was Nagrog. I mean, Nagrog is just awesome. I love how flamboyantly awesome he is. You know, he's just he owns his world, and I love it how dramatic he is. So
he's played by Adam Crosdell, who actually did some voices in the Castlevania series on Netflix, and who's a great actor. He had so much fun. You know, Allie is probably my favorite glitch because with Allie we were able to show that glitches could be, you know, more than just bad guys. But my favorite glitch is the ping pixel because I think it is one of the most difficult to defeat, unbelievably.
Yeah, that episode was just so amazing. I love that.
And it doesn't even have a personality. It's just pure code coming at you, and all it's programmed to do is like react.
Yeah.
You know?
And just like you, I did like Five's companion pet, Alpha.
Yeah.
And I was a little upset knowing that we can only see him so little times. But I was happy when we finally get to see him in the episode where Miko is having the rivalry with Mike.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
No, I mean because of the way things ended abruptly in production, we had to move episodes around. So there are some inconsistencies like that have been mentioned, you know, in by reviewers and saying like, hey, how come all of a sudden they have new outfits and you know, so there are inconsistencies in the show right now, but it's only because we had to move episodes around, you know, once the show was put on hold.
Yeah.
But you know, just like you guys, we definitely would have loved to see more Alpha. I know in the next batch, I think we have Alpha come back as well.
We do.
There you go.
We're happy with the air order because we did pick it. Like Eric and myself and our supervising producer chose the order, and Nickelodeon helped us to make the changes we wanted to make. But yeah, originally Alpha was introduced like much later, and so that's why, you know, we didn't see him as early as you do now. So right now you kind of feel the gap. But the other thing about Alpha is it is one of the more complicated characters to draw and to animate. He's not CGI. He's
he's a hybrid. You know.
Oh yeah, sorry. He has a rig.
We do use him. Yeah, he is a CG model a lot of times, and then for specific poses, he is done in.
Is it kind of like how like the Iron Giant is a little bit? Is it like that?
Yeah, definitely. Because I was there to supervise a lot of the modeling of that CG character, which was done that specific episode, and those models were done at a studio in the Philippines called Top Draw. And so yeah, a lot of that stuff is CG. That's why he does look so good. But the difference is the actual rendering for him. It was just so well done that it fits right into that world.
Correct. And if you have a CG model, a puppet, it's still complicated to animate, especially on our show when there's a lot of action. You know, if he's just standing in a scene or turning a little bit, it's pretty doable. When he is running and tumbling and jumping and leaping, there is a lot of hand smoothed, you know, in-betweening of these key positions that's working on that. And then that's a challenge. So even when you have the computer assistance and everything, it's a lot. So we can do more. It's just that when we do an episode where Alpha's going to do a lot in it, then that means we probably have to like be a little bit more reserved in other areas so that we're just not driving our poor animators crazy. So you're always making these decisions, you know, like, you know, where to put that time and energy. And the show has a lot of energy to distribute. But we love Alpha, and we're really proud of his or its voice, because I say his, but he doesn't have a gender. So, but his voice is like just some really interesting like beeps and a little bit of, you know, vocal playing around. But it was a blast to create him.
This is the last question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Most cartoons, they have a pilot as their like first episode of seeing like how things would go. Did you have to change much from the pilot to the official series?
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, yeah, we did. You know, we did a pilot for the series originally that got tested by kids that Nickelodeon would bring in. They would test it with kids, and it went great. It went great. The pilot did go really great for us, but Dan and I just did not like the relationship that Miko and Five had in that pilot. It's not what you guys see now. You know, High Five was definitely a lot more frustrated with Miko as opposed to like, and he was already a glitch tech before Miko in the original pilot. And we just didn't like the way that dynamic was kind of working, even though they did resolve it in that pilot and they became friends. We just wanted to kind of start with a clean slate for both of them and allow them to really discover the world together, as opposed to like one having already the experience of being a glitch tech. We just wanted to introduce this world to feel very magical and cool for both of them at the same time.
It was more of a comedy in that like the characters had a little bit more of like cartoony voices. Monica was still on the show, but even Miko was like a little bit more sped up, a little bit more manic pixie. And yeah, Five was like the uptight guy who goes by the rules, and Miko was the more impulsive, you know, because we were just starting, you know, and it was working, but it was flatter. And I think everything, the design, the character dimension, it got more three-dimensional and aged up just a little bit. And the network was the one who actually, I think, urged us to say, look, let's have it be an origin story for both of them. One of them should already be a tech. And that's very unusual because in a lot of pilots, they really love it if one character is kind of already in the world and can explain how it works to the other character. And we thought it was awesome and very much like a movie that they wanted to, you know, slowly intro the characters, because that means the audience can also be slowly introduced. And it was an unusual note to get. And I'm sorry, Eric, I don't remember if we were already leaning that way, but I do know that I remember somebody at the network saying it to me because I remember going, "Oh, that's a big rewrite."
No, well, Dan, I remember some of that stuff, and it was, you know, what it was is the person running Nickelodeon at the time, you know, for whatever reason, which really worked out to our benefit, wanted to give us more development time. I think because they would see shows that would just come in and out, and it was because they would get greenlight too fast.
Rushed, yeah.
And they'd be rushed in production, and so you never really got to kind of fully develop the shows. And I think we were a special case where they said, you know what, take your time, develop the show, really figure out what you guys want to say. And that's when we really kind of started having bigger discussions with the network, and which allowed us to get to a place where we can kind of reset everything and say like, okay, how are we going to open up this world? I think James Stevenson and Bill Rinda and everybody else really kind of allowed us to expand the world, and Russell Hicks was a big part of that.
Yeah. All the executives we worked with, we actually had a really good relationship with. They're very smart people. Most have gone on to like Netflix. One is running the production company for Dragon Prince. And we're still friendly with them. You know, they gave us great ideas, and then we and our team would go off and we'd give ourselves a lot of notes too, because we had our own standards we were trying to reach, and it was a pretty good balance. A lot of people have frustrations with Nick, you know, including us sometimes, but Nick is not a person. It's a company, and it has a lot going on besides the shows. But people should know that, yeah, you know, we want more Glitch, but Glitch wouldn't exist without the people at Nick, and we can tell you, nobody's paying us to say that, like, we had a great relationship with our exec. Megan Casey in particular, she did Avatar, she did Korra, she did Rise of the Ninja Turtles, and she's smart and cool and let us try things. And so it was pretty good. You know, like, as things go, we want people to kind of fight for Glitch if they want to see more, because that's wonderful, but it doesn't need to be an angry fight, because I can't speak for other shows, but for the most part, you know, we're really thankful. So, you know, for what it's worth, don't need to have, the mob doesn't have to have torches and pitchforks necessarily,
Right.
but do get together.
Yeah.
The way you win this battle is just like support the show, and watch the show and tell others about the show. That's how, that's how you win this battle.
Yeah, it's a peaceful demonstration. Because the other thing too is I've we've both been on a lot of shows, and the fans that the companies are more likely to listen to are the ones who also are just like who are the least toxic and who genuinely connect with the material. And because I've seen execs be like, oh well, the fans this and the fans that, like in an angry way. But being a fanboy, I'm like, well, you don't mean fans. You just mean like those one or two really loud ones that are giving you a bad day. But the majority of the fans, just want what they want. So it helps. It helps to be a peaceful mob. And passion is good, but they're not going to change no matter how much we tear down try to attack them as a corporation.
Right.
They got problems we can't even understand, to be honest. So for what it's worth, I thought I'd say that.
The next question that I have, it's not a bad question, but I really want to see if this would be get answered.
All right, so we'll strike the bad question. We're going to go out on this one.
Okay. So will we ever get to see if, why Miko can't get erased? Like her mind?
All right. Will we?
Yes, we will, Dan. I personally love the idea of digging further into Hinobi and really kind of like this, I love story. I love digging into this stuff, and just based off of the response on season 2, like, a lot of fans just like yourself asking these types of questions. I would love to dig further into these answers, and hopefully with Dan's help, we can fulfill, the needs and wants of what you guys are looking for and the stuff that we have already established. I know we can do it in a way that would definitely please, I think, a lot of people, but it's something that Dan and I, like we do everything, we'll discuss and we'll talk to our crew, and we'll make sure that we deliver the strongest answer.
We run it past everybody. We've always had a knowledge of where everything's going and what we feel these answers are, and until we commit to them and do that with our team, they're sort of like they're up for some subtle changes. But we know, and we feel good about it. We didn't expect it to be like the question. That's another thing about being a show that got interrupted and moved around a little bit. Like, it's not meant to be like the question of the show, but it's a big one, certainly the biggest. And, we tried to address it to some extent already, but we'll have specific answers, as we get to do more.
I mean, I think Dan and I have even discussed, like, what's that final scene look like when the show's over, and, it's stuff like that.
And how it should feel. A lot of times you just talk about feeling. Here's how we want it to feel.
Yeah, that's really important to us is what's the feel that we're going for. And as fans of many amazing movies and shows and comics and games and what have you, we like you guys want to be satisfied with a really good ending. So that would be our goal.
And to those who are creating out there, you're all going to borrow from amazing shows that you love, and you should. That's your inspiration, and you shouldn't be afraid of even being similar to those things, because you'll make it yours. But do remember, if instead of just taking the proton pack from Ghostbusters and the DeLorean from Back to the Future and the lightsaber from Star Wars, like, remember why you love those things and what the feelings were. Take the feeling of this movie and the feeling of that movie. That's like where the real magic is, because the designs are amazing, but they don't mean anything if they're not supported by the feels. So don't be afraid to like try to figure that part out, and be as sappy as you want to be or not. You can always pull it back later, but just remember, it's how we feel about these movies and shows, I think, that makes us fans, really. Because I've seen beautiful shows that I will watch more than once because they're gorgeous, but then I'm pretty done with them. The ones I go back to again and again are usually because, like, they make us feel something. So our team likes to talk a lot about what we feel and why, and how we can
Yeah.
put that into our show.
Dun, dun.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for doing this. It means a lot to me. I really hope that Glitch Text can come back because I want to see what else you guys can come up with. Like it's a really good show.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys reaching out so we can do this. Good?
Yep, we're good. Thank you.
Audio recording tech, please check your recording software now. Please confirm that you have recorded this podcast.
Are you the voice for the bit?
What? Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious both as me and as Bit because I want to make sure I record it.
That was great.
Thank you, Tech.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Me and Wesley had a lot of fun. We interviewed the Glitch Text creators, Dan and Eric. It was so much fucking fun. Don't know if I can cuss, but it was so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the long interview. I didn't want to cut anything out because I thought, you know, every single second counts because I want you guys to know and, you know, just have fun. Just have fun while we're watching an interview. You know what I mean? But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to go follow Eric and Dan on Twitter, and I'll also put mine in case you guys want to follow me. Don't know if you want to, but theirs will be in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.